Ladies and gentlemen, we will call the September 9th meeting of the Caroline County Board of Supervisors to order. I have asked Mr. Seeley to deliver the invocation, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Seeley.
Can we all stand? Heavenly Father, as we gather this evening to do the business of the county, give us guidance and help us make the decisions that will best suit and best help the citizens of Caroline County. And let's not forget and remember all those of 9/11 who 11 years or 13 years ago this week lost their lives in an attack that we will always remember and should always look forward to make sure that we take care of those that are here and those that were left behind with loved ones that were left in the loss. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Seeley. If you'll join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All righty. Thank you again, Mr. Cully. Do we have any amendments to the agenda?
Yes, sir. We need to remove the Pete Davis recognition. He's still out of town. And then the printing of the resource guide, the social service director couldn't be here.
Oh, okay.
So I told that might end up moving to October, but those two things.
Okay, that's agenda item number 8 we're going to remove. And we are going to remove presentation number 2. We also have agenda item number 7 is a discussion of potential applications for VDOT revenue sharing. I think that's the only one, but while we've got our VDOT representative here, if the board doesn't mind, we'll move that up to right after his presentation. So, opening board comments, Mr. Taylor?
Yes, just one, Mr. Chairman. I had the opportunity a few weeks ago of being asked to come to the Emergency Services Chiefs meeting, and I did, and just want to publicly thank the Emergency Services people for the job that they do, because we realize that certainly were it not for the volunteers as well as the paid people, we would not get the service that we get. And in talking with them, they had concerns, and my suggestion to them was that, maybe they would find an opportunity to invite other board members as well. They mentioned, I believe, that you, Mr. Chairman, and I believe Mr. Seeley had met with them, sort of recently, and just basically they talked about some of their concerns, and I just basically listened, but again would like to just thank them for the job that they do, and to let them know that the board is aware of their importance, and we appreciate the job that they do. That's all that I have.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Mr. Black?
Not at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Underwood?
Not at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Akers?
No, sir.
Mr. Seeley?
No, sir.
Okay. I didn't have any, but again, I wanted to echo the comments Mr. Seeley made regarding September 11th, and whereas we honor those who lost their lives and those who lost their lives in actions afterwards, and continue that fight to make America the nation it's supposed to be. So, having said that, presentations, we have the recognition of Sandra Hughes, Master Deputy Commissioner Certification. And I understand all of the employees from the Commissioner of Revenue's office are going to come forward and support this?
Oh, a lot of.
Okay. Many of them will come.
While they're coming up, I'll give you a 10-year history of one of your employees.
Wow.
Sandra began in the Commissioner of Revenue's office in November 16, 2004. She began working with state income and our DMV Select. It didn't take us long to understand the girl's smart, she's willing to learn, and she's trusted by our taxpayers. While working and raising an honor roll son, Sandra continued her own education. Due to her desire to take more responsibility, and the ability to not only complete her duties, but to always go the extra mile. Sandra's always done that for our taxpayers. At this time, she was promoted to supervisor and deputy commissioner. As she continued her education, it became clear, very clear, she was ready to work in an auditing field. Sandra was now enrolled in the Master Deputies program. The Master designation, which takes a minimum of 3 years, requires extensive education and governmental experience. The designation program was designed to enhance professionalism of local government officials and their staffs. It is to ensure greater knowledge and accountability with the citizens and increase statewide uniformity. That's something we're constantly working on, is our uniformity. Well, a few years have passed, and Sandra's still working. But by now, she has received her Bachelor of Science of Business Administration and Accounting. Well, that's not all. Last year, she received her Master's of Business Administration. Now in 2014, she's ready to receive and will her Master Deputy Commissioner of the Revenue designation from the Weldon Cooper Center of the University of Virginia. In order to receive this designation, she must meet a lot of criteria, which includes she must adhere to the practices of the Code of Ethics and Standards of Professional Conduct of the International Association of Assessors. She has to maintain policy on accountability in the office. She must go to seminars regularly and successfully complete college-level courses. She must participate and serve the Commonwealth as well as our county. And then she will undergo a site audit of all of her credentials. Now, you have to do this annually, so it's not easy to have this designation. During the last 10 years, she has been able to maintain a loving home with her big child, manage her duties at work, complete education milestones, and yes, her son's still on the honor roll. Sandra, it gives us all great pride to have you work for Caroline County, and we are proud to present to you your master's designation from the University of Virginia. Now, she's a master twice, so y'all watch out. Okay?
She's waited on me before, so I know.
You understand the complications?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you all very much, but you should be very proud of all of our employees. But when they reach this level, it needs to be recognized.
Well, we are without a doubt extremely proud of all of the employees in the commissioner's office, the treasurer's office, all the county employees. I was just in there getting a registration done, and it was professional. It was wonderful. I think you guys do a great job, and the customer service that you provide is wonderful. So that means a lot to people when they're paying their bills and going through things. So it's nice to see a smiling face and happy. If you would like, I'm going to ask if you ladies would like to come forward. Our photographer is going to take a couple of pictures of you. And I'm going to ask the family if they'll come forward too. So we'll do the commissioner's office, the family, and then maybe one with the board.
What is up there?
You could come up here, please.
Is that okay?
Please. We want to go in the corner? Oh, you pulling my chair out from under me?
Sorry.
Wouldn't be the first time I just fell on my face. Come on, congratulations. All right, can we do one with the commissioners? We'll line the commissioners folks up here. You and you stand over here with me. Come on, Mark, we're going to do one with her. You're going to line those guys up over there. She's going to do one over here.
Yes, sir.
For my campaign. I'm not stupid.
Oh, is that what it is?
I'm sorry. Yeah, do a couple more. I think my hair was out of place.
Oh.
Okay. Thank you. Now we're going to go in the corner. We're going to do Commissioner's office. So you go in the corner.
Go in the corner.
Mrs. Carter.
Go in the corner.
In the corner. You don't have to wear a hat. You're in the corner. You don't have to wear a hat. That's okay.
Okay, we can bring it over that way to my left a little bit. Some in the front, some in the back. Okay, right there. Okay,
Over. Take 2
let's
steps
see.
over.
The two on my right, you want to move it out there, and then she can fit right in there. Okay, the lady on the left, far left, no, in the back, yeah. There we go, okay. Just so that's.
Welcome to our world. Just a little bit left, a little bit right.
All right, nice one right here. We're going to take a couple kind of beat the blade. Good, one more.
She's not smiling anymore. All right.
Thank you.
Family? All right. I didn't know you were the center.
Uh-huh.
None of that really matters. That honor roll stuff, that matters. That matters. Sharon, you want to be in with the family? Come on, let's book in the family.
I'm Grandma.
Sharon.
Oh, I'm sorry, where do you want me?
Oh, one inch to the
To
left.
the right, to the right, to the right. Now turn in a little bit.
To the right.
Not.
See? Okay.
Okay, that's good. All right. Nice smile down there. Okay, good. Let me, one more or a couple. And one more, yeah.
Good. Okay, one more with the rest of the board, excuse me. Come on, gentlemen. We're just going to surround you with ugly guys.
I've never had that experience.
I know. So. You almost called her. All right. Jeff Black, you're in the back with me because you're tall. Calvin, you can go up there. Wayne, you can go up there. All right, now we can't see anybody. Just head to my way. I got to go over here.
Mr. Thomas, just to the side of Mr. Akins.
Oh, I can't be behind Wayne.
There, okay.
I got to be in front of Wayne. Go ahead. Go ahead. All right.
Okay.
I'm sorry. It's about you. Are you in front of Wayne? Are you in front of Wayne?
Okay, Mr. Thomas, just an inch.
All right. I'm good. I'm in 3. I'm good.
All right, that's great. Okay. One more. Good.
Thank you very much. All right. Congratulations. Thank you.
Oh, my goodness. Somebody tried to win those house in the pain.
Thank you so much for your service, Andy. We do appreciate it. That was the only one? Yes. And to the Commissioner of Revenue's office, again, thank you for your support. And I know it's not easy when somebody's going through this type of certification. There's some things that they have to do, so we do appreciate what you've done, and we definitely recognize the great work that's been done. So, Ms. Hughes, keep it up. Okay, next we've moved the resolution of appreciation. Now it's time for the VDOT report. Mr. Nelson is here, so Mr. Nelson will give us the VDOT report, and then we're going to move it.
Stand up the mic so people can hear you.
Good evening, members of the board.
Then we're going to move up to agenda item 9. Mr. Nelson?
All right, here to give you your update. First, I'll go over some...
And Mr. Nelson, can you move that mic closer to you?
Yeah, it's kind of pointed at the computer. There you go. Hear me now?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
First thing, I'd like to go over some meetings that are coming up on October the 2nd. We're having a fall transportation meeting at Germanna College. I would recommend that people from the county show up to that meeting to voice their concerns about transportation. We're also working with the county staff for the FY16 revenue sharing applications, and we'll be talking about that a little bit later. Let me touch on some of our preliminary engineering projects. The Route 721 bridge replacement over Beverly Creek. That project has design underway. We are moving towards implementing that design with having access across the bridge the entire time during construction, so that is moving forward. Some of the construction projects that we have going on right now, the 639 project is about 52% complete right now. It's scheduled to be complete in May of 2015, but we believe that the contractor will actually finish this calendar year. The Route 633 bridge replacement over South River, that is scheduled to be complete in April of 2015. And the 654 bridge replacement over Reedy Creek was actually completed on August the 24th, so that road has been reopened. Now I'll go over some of the concerns from the last board meeting. Mr. Black, you had requested us to look at the drainage on 639. I believe Mr. Akers had also requested that. The contractor has gone out and done some of the drainage work there, but we do still have an issue with the grade of the ditch, so he should be out there shortly fixing that grade issue. You also had requested the litter pickup on 639 and to look at some site distance issues. We had litter picked up about 2 weeks ago, and we have done some site distance trimming, but we also plan to do our second mow in October. So we should be mowing on 639 in October. Mr. Seeley, you had asked us to request a meeting with MC Dean to review the infrastructure around their facility. We've met with MC Dean, and we'll be coordinating with the county and meeting with them again. You also had requested us to look at the CSX crossing on Page Road. I have reached out to our new CSX rep, and I'm waiting a return on what planned maintenance they have on that crossing, and I'll keep contacting him until I get that info. Mr. Underwood, you had requested to look at drainage on Old Don Boulevard. Our staff went out there and looked at that area, and it's really flat, so we're having a hard time trying to figure out what to do with the flat area, so we're going to try to go and look at some of the drainage pipes, the cross pipes, to make sure they're open, to try to help move some of the water from out that area. Mr. Akers, you, of course, had asked about the drainage ditch, and like I mentioned before, we've tried to rectify that issue. Mr. Taylor, you had requested us to look at the striping on Macedonia Road, and that should have been updated by now. Mr. Thomas, you asked for a status update on the Belmont subdivision sidewalks, and that work will be completed at the end of this week. That concludes my report.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Nelson at this time? Mr. Taylor?
I think you might have mentioned it, but in our last meeting, we were talking about 606 and the bridge repair. And it was talked about that one of the options might have been to close the road.
We got the communication from the county voicing their concerns about not closing that roadway. It has been sent to design staff. Now they're going to try to incorporate keeping the bridge open during construction.
We really would appreciate that.
Yes, we're working on it.
Okay. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Black.
Yeah, I just have a couple. I appreciate you getting on some of these things, but still, even coming to this meeting today, coming out of Lake Landor, I know you had talked about in the winter, we were looking at the site distance, we had a couple of big trees taken out. If you're looking to the west of Lake Landor, the site distance around those bushes and so forth, I don't know if you worked with the association.
We've been trying to coordinate with the association.
Yeah, it's still, because there's like a speed limit sign going the other way that you can't even see because of the trees. So I mean, I don't think the distance you had in the winter or in the spring is there anymore. So if you could look into that, because those cars coming around that corner, if you're,
Okay, and I did want to give you an update also. We will be doing it's called a high friction surface treatment in that curve, which will help with some of the issues out there also. That should be going on in October.
Right. I And I appreciate it. Can you just let me know when you're out there? Can you give me a call when you get out there?
Okay.
I mean, are you going to go out there yourself or?
To meet with the...
Well, like as far as with the association, all about the site distance again?
Yeah, I'll get with my maintenance operations manager.
Can you
He's
just give me a
been
call on
contacted.
that? Yeah, I would appreciate that. The second thing is, and I have called you on this before, the construction on 639 between 95 and Route 1. And I don't know if there's anything you can do, but a lot of times the crews are parking, if I'm, I guess it's a Commerce Way, if I'm leaving Giuseppe's or I'm leaving the Timbers, and I want to turn onto, you know, either way.
Yeah, and I thought that issue had been rectified if it hasn't.
Yeah, but there's still equipment being parked on the shoulder, so if I'm turning, I have a hard time seeing around that equipment to go out into the road.
Okay.
And that's kind of a little bit of it. I'm just concerned that someone's not going to be able to see around those big heavy trucks and so forth that are out there. And plus they've put like, there's been times when there's been piles of gravel and rocks and so forth piled right there. Okay. So it's pretty difficult to see.
I'll reach back out to my construction staff to make sure that they're aware of that.
And then the third thing that Mr. Akers had talked about before as well, that retention pond, I think that's a BMP that you have on the right-hand side of the south side of 639 going towards 95.
Yes.
Is there eventually going to be some sort of guardrail there?
I believe there is talks of fencing going around there. I'm not sure if there's a guardrail in the plans for that or not. I'd have to go and check.
When the road is complete, there's not going to be a guardrail?
I'm not sure.
Because that's a significant drop-off. I mean, that's a significant drop-off between...
Right now, I can't really say because I haven't memorized the plans, but I can check.
Can you check that? Thank you.
That's it, Mr. Martin?
That's it, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Nelson, as you follow up on those, would you just make sure Mr. Cully gets a copy of your follow-up so he can send it to the rest of the board?
Will do.
Just so we don't have 6 different people saying what's the status. Mr. Underwood?
Mr. Nelson, just wanted to relay thank you for the signage at the end of Ruther Glen Road and Signboard Road. That's been trouble. I think you guys have done an outstanding job of making sure people understand.
Yeah, we've been working with the citizens on that, trying to come up with different ideas.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. Akers?
I just want to say thank you. The resurfacing that took place from Route 1 going west on 639, that really improved that area and the looks as well as the driving. And I want to appreciate what you do for us. You take care of the Madison District pretty well as you do the others, and I appreciate that.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Mr. Seeley?
I've met with Mr. Nelson on a bunch of meetings, and I think we've got a great relationship with your office, and I just appreciate it. And I have no other issues for tonight. How's that?
That works for me.
You like that? You like that. Mr. Nelson, obviously you can tell, and I guess we should make sure that Quentin's aware of this, but you can tell the board is very pleased with the work you've done, and we're very happy. I think I told him before to not send certain people back to us again, and we are very happy to see you every time you're here. It's great follow-up. We do appreciate it. The one thing you mentioned, the detours that we were proposing before, the one at Nelson Hill Road and the one at Stonewall Jackson Road.
Yes.
Will it cost more if the bridges are kept open?
Yes.
Will it cost the county more if the bridges are kept open?
No, but it could delay the projects.
Right. I think we got from 7 months to 12 months or 14 months.
Depending on how much it increased the estimate, if we don't have funding for it, it could delay.
Okay. Well, in both of those cases, we got requests from the school board's transportation team that said it would be a hardship for them to do detours for school buses. So
totally understand.
That's kind of why we wanted to do it. We may change in the summertime to give you a couple of months, but I think right now, if you'll work with us, we'll try to work with you.
And I think that's what we'll do as we go through the design process. I'll update Mr. Cully on what we're talking about. If there's any windows where we can close it down, it may help expedite some of the construction.
Right. Okay. All right. I think that's good. Again, great job. We appreciate it. That takes care of the VDOT report. And I'm actually moving agenda item number 7, which is the discussion of potential applications for fiscal year 2016 VDOT revenue sharing program. Mr. Fincham, you're going to start us off?
Yes, Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, the FY 2015-16 revenue sharing applications are due October 1st to VDOT. We have identified a couple of candidate projects should the board direct staff to further investigate these and go forward. We're not asking for board action tonight. We're simply asking whether the board wants us to pursue the projects that we've identified as candidate projects. Mr. Nelson referred to a meeting with Mr. Seeley and staff at MC Dean. We've actually had several meetings over the course of the last 6 weeks or so. And at their request, they've asked VDOT to look at some potential road improvements to enhance operations at their facility. Mr. Nelson and his staff have come up with some preliminary cost estimates and identified improvements necessary to improve the service to MC Dean and the work that they do. Basically, we're looking at intersection improvements to two intersections, Route 207 and 684, as well as Route 684 and 656. Street name-wise, it's Rogers Clark Boulevard and Dry Bridge Road, and then Dry Bridge Road and Coleman Mill Road, as well as upgrading Dry Bridge Road and widening that road between those two intersections. It's due to the equipment that they have coming in and out of the facility. Those estimates in total are roughly $3.4 million, of which the local match would be roughly half of that. The second project is what I would call as Phase 2 of the Route 639 improvements. Phase 1 is ongoing right now. Phase 2 would encompass the area from the interchange back to Route 1. As part of that, we would look at signalization improvements to the north and southbound off-ramps at 95, a right turn lane, and re-signalizing the Route 1 639 intersection. If you remember the current project, we were not able to get the right turn lane in. Phase 2 would help with that and actually provide a left through and a right turn lane as you go west on Route 639 at the Route 1 intersection. And we would also look at some lane improvements, channelizing traffic flow between 95 and Route 1, kind of pick up where we left off with the Phase 1 and extend that on west, on east towards the I-95 interchange. We have a preliminary cost estimate of that project of between $3.7 and $4.2 million. Again, the county's match of that would be half that amount. Mr. Wilson in Economic Development is working on some concepts for local, to meet the local match requirements. And really all at this point in time is we're seeking direction from the board as to whether you want us to continue pursuing and evaluating the two options or two candidate projects that the board, that we've provided the board tonight.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Fincham. And if the board's action is to authorize staff to continue looking at those options, that would be okay with VDOT because we would make your October 1st deadline? Okay.
We would intend on coming back to the board at the 23rd with the details, including funding recommendations for the board's consideration, and ask the board to formally approve one or both projects, or neither of the projects at that time.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Fincham or for Mr. Nelson at this time? Mr. Akers?
Only question was to Mr. Fincham on the MC Dean match, or the improvements to that area. Is there any discussion about who would help with the match on that project?
We, through economic development, are looking at that match source. Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Ms. Taylor, no questions?
No.
Okay. At this time, a motion to, do you have a question?
No,
Okay.
sir.
It would be appropriate to give a motion to authorize staff to continue looking at these options.
Mr.
So
Chairman.
moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Akers, seconded by Mr. Black. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion carries unanimously, so we will move forward with those. We'll, I guess we'll confirm it at our meeting on the 23rd, and then we'll be in time for the VDOT October 1st deadline. Thank you, Mr. Nelson, again. And if you could move us up to the top of the list, we'd appreciate it. Okay, that was VDOT Department of Fire and Rescue Recruitment and Retention Update. Chief Loftus, how are you doing? Are these for us? Fire and Rescue. Ooh, these are big.
Y'all set?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good evening. I'd like to take a few minutes of your time and talk to you about some of the improvements going on in the Department of Fire and Rescue as it pertains to the retention and recruitment of our most valued asset, our personnel. Approximately 6 months ago, the county was extremely fortunate, and we hired Robert Eby as our part-time retention and recruitment officer. Bobby is a volunteer, has been a volunteer, is a retired firefighter from a combination system very similar to ours, as well as an ordained minister. Since coming on board, Bobby has increased our department's social media presence, our physical presence at local events, as well as developed a series of programs, which he's going to talk about, that highlight the department and really try to bring volunteers into our system and retain both career and volunteers that we already do have. I'm very proud to introduce Mr. Robert Eby. It's all yours, Mike.
Thank you, Chief. If it's all right, I'll show the video at the end, because I got to be able to find it back on the computer. But I want to thank the Board of Supervisors for allowing me to address you tonight. Recruitment and retention of volunteer firefighters and emergency medical technicians is the lifeblood of the volunteer system, as you well know. Being a volunteer firefighter or EMT is a commitment that many in our community has made and continue to make, but we must have a constant and increased flow of applications if the system is to be maintained. This is not just an issue in Caroline County, as you can imagine, but is throughout the United States. In the effort to retain our volunteers, we've put together a benefit package that includes receiving a departmental challenge coin when the volunteers complete the required training requirements, and I think Chief Loftus has given you each one of those coins tonight. When the member has volunteered 20 hours of their time per month, they receive a stipend that was generously implemented by this board, but with the stipend, the department, pending a funding request, would like to issue these active volunteers a uniform, including 2 shirts, a pair of pants, a baseball hat. The issuing of the uniforms to the volunteers would build unity, camaraderie, and pride within the volunteer system. The rest of their benefit package includes a volunteer retirement package called VOLSAP. They do receive a 20% discount at the YMCA license plates and also tuition reimbursement. We also have an orientation program that each new member participates in, introducing them to the fire and EMS service. We will be giving them a T-shirt as part of this program to encourage their participation and let them know of their value to the system. In an effort to recruit new volunteers, we have or are planning on doing the following. First, we actually contracted to have a professionally produced and filmed video, which I'll be showing you in a minute. You'll see in the video that most of it, we do have one career person talking, but that was at the request of the filmmaker. But it's the volunteers from all walks of life, men, women, black, white, pretty much anybody we could, we wanted to cast a wide net to the whole community. If any of you have been to the convenience centers recently, within the last Tuesday, we hung 4x4 banners up at each convenience center. The idea behind that, when I came to Caroline, I realized everybody uses those convenience centers, so it's a funnel, and everybody will see our signs as they funnel through there. and those will be up for the month of September and October. We've increased our social media presence. Obviously, we're reaching out to people that are in the late teens, early 20s, or even in their late 20s, and we've increased our Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and we even have a Google Plus account, believe it or not. We have created a church resource package. The volunteers requested that we do that. Essentially, it's something that they could put in their bulletin or project on the screen. There's also a letter and our videos included in that package. We've purchased 300 footballs that will be thrown by the cheerleaders at the homecoming game that has our hashtag, it says Go Cavs, and has our hashtag CCFR, join our team. We're also forming a recruitment team with the intention of creating a culture of recruitment within the volunteer departments, with the idea that they're going to be the biggest recruiting mechanism that we have, or the individual stations. And so we're creating a recruiting team that I'm hoping to meet monthly. We'll start that September 26th. Last month we were highlighted by WRIC in Richmond during their Job Watch program for the volunteer position. And they reached out to us having seen our video, and we sent them a little bit of information, and it was nice that they did that. We had 5,000 brochures printed and have brochures in every library. We're trying to look for ways to distribute them. We also have brochures. We'll have brochures at the economic development table at the state fair. We've recently purchased coloring books for everybody from K through second grade, and this book will require parent participation. It's about the escape plan, and it includes our hashtag CCFR, join our team. We also, and I just actually had a meeting today, we're looking at possibly doing a radio advertisement in 2015. We've had a booth set up at Caroline High School, Career Day, Ladysmith Day, County Fair, and we'll be at on October 18th, we'll be in Bowling Green. And this is the banner we just ordered. It was at the County Fair. We used to have this big blue thing that took a PhD to put together, and this takes about 10 seconds. So it's helped us. And this is available to all the volunteers. I have giveaways and things that I'm making available to the volunteers so they can use it. And it comes in a carrying case, and it's very portable. So this time I'm going to show the video. If I can. And we did get a volunteer application last week that cited this video as the reason they came to volunteer.
This is on YouTube.
This is on our county website, on YouTube. We also put it on the cable access channel. And generally the widest dissemination that we could get.
It's on Vimeo, Daily Motion, you name it, it's there.
Opportunities and challenges that I've met in my career thus far as a firefighter and EMT. It's everything that I thought it would be and more.
I think one of the big things in the fire department is you have a lot of mentors. You have a lot of backgrounds, personalities that come together to help mentor you and turn you into the person you ultimately become. The fire department teaches you integrity, commitment, and dedication. It helps you become a better person, lifelong skills, and just grows you up as a person.
We all have to work as a team when we
to go out on the road, either whether a sick person or an accident. And if it wasn't for the help of the fire department and the rescue squads working together, we wouldn't get the job done. We're all out there for the same goal and for the same purpose.
I like going into burning buildings. I like driving big fire trucks. I like playing with power tools. I like being a tomboy, and as a female, it's important to me to set an example that anybody can do this. Size doesn't matter.
It's a great thing to get into, and it's something that you'll like to do. You'll find out real quick. It's a lot of adrenaline. It's super fun. First time you step into the firehouse, you can already tell the relationship between people there. It sounds cliche, but it really is a brotherhood. Coming in, I only knew one person, that was my brother, and at this point, I feel like everybody who's ever walked into that door is part of my family.
Through the academy in 2012. My husband and I bought a house here, so we've been volunteering with Port Royal. I've been an EMT since 2005, so I love working in emergency medical services and giving back to the community.
Being in the fire service gives you an opportunity to build some great life experiences that will serve you well throughout your time.
I like to make sure we get there safe and make sure we handle the situation as safely as possible and make sure everyone is able to go home when they're done.
Once you get involved and you actually start to see what you're providing the community, it really is something that just helps build your character.
I've been very fortunate in my life in the fact that a lot of people go through their life and don't know what they want their career path to be. And as a child, I've always wanted to be a firefighter.
I enjoy waking up every day and coming to work for the challenge. Every day we get to meet somebody new and go somewhere new. Every situation is unique. For more information on how to ride along with Caroline Fire Rescue, please visit our website at carolinefirerescue.org or call Fire Administration at 804-633-9831.
Thank you for allowing us to play that for you. I think it's an important tool for us to recruit new people into our system, and it targets a younger generation that we need coming in the door. So, is there any questions for Bobby or myself?
Did you say that you produced that video yourself, or we hired a firm to do it?
No, sir. We hired a firm, Video Man Productions out of Fredericksburg.
Okay.
Gentleman's name is Melvin Brown. If you watch the Happy Fredericksburg video, if anybody saw that, went viral, he did that video and he did ours also.
Okay, okay. I just thought we had some really good production folks in-house. I was going to say we need to take advantage of that. But all right, any questions for the chief?
I just did have one. First of all, I would like to congratulate you on the production and on the great work that's being done. The question I have is, you talked a little bit about some footballs and at the games. Do we have, or is it feasible to look at something with the high school, with students, and trying to get our students involved in volunteering? You know, I know that there are some age restrictions and things like that, but some of the other localities, from what I can understand, have been able to work out some things with the school system and trying to get interested students involved, say at an early age, so, you know, by the time they graduate or whatever, they, you know, may be interested in either volunteering or as a paid person.
Yeah, I think there's some opportunities. We did several years ago try a high school firefighter program, EMT program, and discontinued that because of the results of that program, really. But there are other opportunities to get high school kids interested, and we'll certainly try to seek those out.
I guess my question is, are there some things that we could do as a board, or are there some things that you could do maybe with the school board and working with them, you know, maybe more directly in making this happen?
Well, again, we had